Good morning, welcome back to the channel. I'm just kind of getting ready this morning. I've got two prospect nannies that I'm interviewing for our home. And then tomorrow I actually have two prospect nannies that we're interviewing. I start off doing phone interviews first, and then and I have like my questions pre-typed. We've actually had a nanny in our home before when we had foster children. And we have actually gone through care.com, so I'm going to provide the link down here in the description box. We've had luck on care.com. I've even found jobs for myself on care.com. But I wanted to show our sweet boy Atlas. So, yeah. Aw, thank you for the kisses. Yeah. So as you guys saw our video about Jimmy, that happened on Monday. And, you know, it's been hard. I forgive my hair here, as always. Sean and I were actually off the entire day on Monday. And then he was off yesterday for Tuesday, and I had a very light day at work, which wasn't expected. My employers, I think, they had other things going on, and so they didn't need me as much. And honestly, I love my job so much, but I didn't realize, you know, just how heavy I would be grieving. And so having a light day was actually, you know, good because it allowed me to get out of the house. It allowed me to move around for a little bit, and just kind of distract my mind on other things, you know, do my job, which I love, and just feel productive. But, you know, then be able to come home a little bit early and rest and relax and spend time with our sweet Atlas. And if you're wondering how he's doing, you know, it's so hard to tell. Atlas has always been very stoic. So it's a little hard for me to read. I think he was, like, we tried to do different transitions on Monday. So Monday morning we had Jimmy's appointment, and I had this idea of like wrapping Jimmy up in a blanket because at that point, he was so thin, so frail, and he really could barely walk. So we had him wrapped up in a blanket that he had been sleeping on for a while, and we had Atlas sniff him and whatnot, and just really kind of see us, you know, with our emotions, and let him smell that, because dogs are very hypersensitive to the cortisol that us humans release, especially when we're, you know, experiencing a heightened emotion. So like if you ever wonder why your pets may cling to you when you're crying or when you feel very upset, like you feel a very strong emotion, your body is emanating essentially a cortisol smell to them, and they can smell things well beyond us. And so that's usually why they cling to you. But then when we came home and Jimmy's little pillow and blanket was on the car seat, or not car seat, I guess in the little, well, not like infant or baby car seat, but I mean like in the car on the, you know, the seat. You know, but obviously there was no Jimmy, and so we let Atlas sniff the car, like let him, you know, find his way into the van. And he sat there, and we just kind of like let him, I think, go through the motions. And then, what do you say, buddy? Yeah. Good boy. Yes, you are. Yeah. And then we just spent a lot of quality time with him. We just, we gave you some love. Yeah, you talking? You gonna talk to me? You gonna talk? or you're just going to be a big, oh, lazy baby. And we just kind of helped him go through the motions. You know, it's entirely possible that he's probably still feeling the loss. I know Sean and I are, you know. It's an adjustment when you lose a pet, and, you know, really when you lose a person, it's the absence of that person. It's the, you know, the communication that you've lost forever. And, you know, in regards to losing a pet, you lose the presence, you lose the companionship. So that's definitely very, very hard. But I just wanted to kind of check in, give you guys an update. Yes, I know, I've got to do dishes. That's not as bad as it was the other day. I was such a emotional zombie Monday that I was just like, ugh, whatever. But I wanted to check in, give you guys a life update, and I really appreciate some of y'all's comments on the video of Jimmy. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. You know, honestly, it has been oddly therapeutic posting videos of him and Atlas over the many months, because I was able to actually go back and watch and just kind of enjoy the moments where Jimmy was Jimmy. And really just kind of, now that, I mean, it's like, and I have that where I can just go and access that anytime I want. So, you know, there's a lot of surprises with YouTube that I never expected to have. But thank you guys so much. I will kind of talk a little bit more about the interview process, and I'll even show you some of the questions. But at this point, it's almost 9:30, so excuse me. So I need to kind of start getting prepared. I want to, you know, review my questions that I'm going to be asking the prospect nanny. And I want to try to make sure that I read over that person's profile again, just to make sure, you know, I'm just more familiar, because when you talk to many people or people respond to your ad, you just want to make sure you know who you're talking to, and you have their details in your mind. But I will be back in a few minutes to be able to help you guys learn what we do in choosing a babysitter slash nanny slash housekeeper for our foster pre-adoptive home. Okay, so I have a few extra minutes. Basically, I'm going to let you guys see how I organize myself. And when I get ready for a phone interview to interview a prospect nanny housekeeper. I say nanny because there's going to be a lot of different, responsibilities that our person that we're choosing to work in our home will be fulfilling. So for a babysitter, I just view someone as a babysitter as someone who comes in occasionally or once in a, that's occasionally, but you know, maybe for one time, and they're just here temporarily. You know, they're really not going to be thrusted into the routine and structure of our home, and the expectations are not really high for them, because they're just here to provide a very temporary yet needed service for our kids. For me, a nanny is a person who is well versed in our home with routine, structure. They assist us with medical appointments. They more or less become a personal assistant, a housekeeper, a nanny, a chauffeur. They become a lot of things for us. And so for me, I want to make sure that the person who's coming into our home not just has experience, not just has knowledge in you know, child rearing and perhaps even some childhood education, but we have a very unique situation in that we are soon, you know, we're soon to relicense as foster to adopt parents. And so we have to make sure that a person who's coming in to work in our home and to, you know, take care of the children in our home, because our children are coming from hard places, both myself and Sean, we want to make sure that we can visibly see and at least sense that the person or people that we're hoping to hire and bring into our home has great compassion and understanding and patience, but also a willingness to learn and to explore different ways of being with children, providing a form of discipline or consequences, and not punishment, because there is a difference. And we've certainly been reviewing that in our classes through CPS. So let me just kind of take you through a couple of minutes, because I am kind of getting close to having to call our first person. But let me go ahead and show you how I do this. Okay, so up here at the top, which I have blocked, I will write the person's name. I will write their phone number so I can keep myself organized. I have my phone and my headphones ready because sometimes there's a lot of interference when you're on the phone calls. I always use my headphones so I can hear the person clearly, and I can make sure that I'm hearing their answers as I write down their responses. I have my daily planner here to help me just keep track of our schedule so I can look ahead and just kind of make sure if we're going to schedule an in-person interview, I can be sure to look in our calendar here. Obviously, I have water to keep me hydrated. But what I begin to do is I write in a couple of things from the person's, let me just kind of, from their care.com website there. So I will write in a couple of things that I know are pretty standard. So I'm not necessarily being repetitive or I'm having them repeat things. And I also want them to feel like, I have actually taken time to really read through their profile and whatnot. But I will also circle the ones, like I'll check off the ones that I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty confident that answer's been, or that question's been answered. But I will circle things and write some notes, like you can kind of see here, about what I want to know. And then basically, like, I've kind of broken things down to personality questions, job questions, background questions. And by the way, when you go to care.com, they actually provide you a standard questionnaire list that you can actually print. So that's actually what I did, was I printed their questionnaire list and then I kind of tweaked it and asked things that, are okay. And they actually, here on the back, provide you questions that you can't ask and what's not appropriate. And then they actually go into what is okay and what you can ask and what is fine to ask for. And so, these are, and I also will put X's, like I don't want to ask those questions. It's not really, it's either not important to me or I've already somewhere typed it up before and so I don't want to be repetitive. I'll put a star next to the ones that are very important that I really do want to hear more about. But yeah, this is kind of how I help myself be organized for phone interviewing a prospect nanny. So then after the phone interview, basically, I let them know that I'm going to, bring all of this information to my husband. He and I are going to have a conversation, and then I will contact you, or I will tell them that I will contact them through the website. So in this case, it would be care.com, and let them know if we are open to a in-person interview, or if we just don't feel like you're the right fit, and we really appreciate your time, etc., etc. And I usually do try to let them know why I don't feel like they're a good fit, but I do it in a very gentle and as professional way as I can possibly do. I mean, it's never easy to be let down because I know you go into this with a lot of hopes. But, for us, we have to make sure that the people that are coming into our home can just really understands that this is not going to be a pretty standard nanny position. It's going to be, you're going to wear a lot of hats and you're going to be dealing with a lot of challenges from these children. And, not that children don't have challenges, but, a lot of these children have PTSD. They, that's Atlas. He's drinking his water. He's so loud. But with PTSD, with trauma, it's a gambit of challenges that obviously as a nanny, you're not going to really deal with in a home where children were birthed and raised, with the proper structure and healthy boundaries and etc. So it is a different environment. we have had a nanny before and we love her, and she's graduated college and she's right now looking for her first full-time job. So we're very supportive of her with that, and we're still providing her side jobs here at the house, just to make sure that she's able to kind of stay afloat. But we are very sad to see her leave, but we're also very excited for her and her new life transitions. So at this point, I've got about 5 or 10 minutes before I have to make my first phone call and go through all of that. But if you are a foster parent, if you are a pre-adoptive parent, or if you are in the process of licensing, this is important for you guys to consider as you are building your care team, and that's what we call it. And that's basically what I write on in the private messages to the people who apply to our job. I basically say, look, we're building a care team. We're trying to have several people. Hang on for a minute. Atlas, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Hi, you saying hi. You saying hi. Yeah, you're a good boy. He's wild and crazy. All right, buddy, come on. Want to go out? Come on. Good boy. What are you doing? Does he actually have his ball? He does have his ball. You want to play again? Oh, are you gonna sit in your crate? Okay. You need some comfort, don't you? You want to play? All right. This was not expected, but you guys get to see this. Okay. All right. Are you ready? You ready? Okay. Ready? Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Come here. All right. Oh. Ready? Oh, you better give me that ball. You better give me that ball. You better give it. Give it. No. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay. You're so sweet. Ready? Good boy. Oh. What are you doing? Don't chew on the pillows. Oh, I see. You're playing coy now. Oh, all right. You gonna chew on the ball? You gonna chew? Okay. The ball is just hanging from his mouth. Well, you guys got to see a little bit of our morning. At least what we're trying to do with him, because he's grieving too. We're all grieving, so I'm trying to help him feel needed and feel wanted and feel important, and that's always important anyway. All right, guys, well, sorry for that distraction. I'm sure you guys are very understanding about that. But again, like I said, if you are in the process of licensing, even if you are a straight adopt family, it is really important to have a care team. We have actually put on our care.com job post that we are trying to hire up to 4 people. So 2 main people and 2 backup people. Last year, when I had to be hospitalized for 3 days for a very serious staph infection, which ended up turning into necrotizing fasciitis, when I came home to recover, Sean and I had some very honest conversations, and we both realized that, God, I mean, what would have happened had we had children in our home? We had a sitter, but she wasn't able to stay past a certain point, and we had not certified our parents to come and help us. And Sean and I just realized that although we felt comforted at that moment that we did not have a foster placement in our home, we both realized that the next time we're relicensing, the next time we have a placement, we need to be better prepared, because if I were to, say get sick and need hospitalization again, or God forbid if Sean got sick or needed hospitalization again, we're going to need people that can help step in and help us while we take care of the children in our home. And, you know, for other people, it's not as overwhelming or complicated to think about, but for us, the people that come into our home, they have to be specifically certified. They have to have a background check, FBI fingerprint check, CPR first aid card. They have to have taken some online or over the phone training courses. They basically have to be vetted to be in our home, and that's a really big deal. And so, you know, it's not like a pretty standard situation where, you know, if you're sick, you call a grandparent or you call a friend or whatnot, and they can just come over and stay for a few days. As a foster parent or as an adoptive parent, we don't really have that kind of luxury. So we have to, you know, go through this rigmarole. So that's why we have to really overly prepare in the sense. All right, guys. Well, I have officially 2 minutes before I have to call this very nice person that I've been talking to so far. And I'm very excited about this. And I'm sure everybody is having a nice time watching Atlas. But thank you guys so much for coming along. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Sorry it was a longer video than I even expected, but you know, I wanted to give a life update, and I also wanted to provide you guys just the next step in our preparations as foster to adopt parents. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to every single subscriber here. Without you guys, I wouldn't really have a purpose of being on YouTube. And you guys make it worth it. I love your comments. I love your engagement. And I'm so happy to be able to help many of you as you go through the journey of parenting, foster parenting, and adopting. All right, guys, I will see you guys next time. Bye.